Hi everyone, I'm Brenda. I've always been very feminine and romantic. I liked all sorts of girly things. Cute dresses, melodramas, cosmetics. I also liked baking apple pies and listening to love songs. If only I could keep enjoying my life. Unfortunately, my dad had always wanted a son and treated me like a guy because of that. You can't even imagine what I had to go through. Where do I begin? Well, for one thing, he redecorated my room without warning me. My pale pink bedroom turned into just some sort of gym. Dad, where are all my teddy bears? Oh, there wasn't enough space for the punching bag here, so I threw them out. Now you can work on your punches. For the love of God, I am a girl. I don't want to be punching anything. Arguing with my dad was useless. It was like he was trying to turn me into a different person and didn't care about my feelings at all. When I asked him to buy me a beautiful dress for the school prom, he got me a tuxedo instead. Whenever I was watching melodramas, he would come up to me and turn on an action movie instead. Ugh, what's with the tearjerker? Now we're talking. When I wanted to go to a spa, Dad took me fishing instead. Can you believe it? He was so selfish. The one time he fulfilled my wish was when he gave me a car. And even then, it wasn't a cute pink convertible like I wanted, but a huge Jeep. It looked intimidating and not at all something a gentle girl like me should drive. I didn't complain and thanked Dad anyway. Driving a Jeep was still better than sitting in a cramped school bus. But then there was one incident that became the last straw for me. I'd long dreamed of doing gymnastics. I needed Dad to sign a permit to join a club, but when I asked him for it, his reaction made me want to rip my hair out. Brenda, forget about it. Gymnastics is for weak girls. I've already enrolled you in a soccer club. But Dad, don't bother arguing with me. I paid a lot of money for that. So it's not up for discussion. We're going to go to matches together like father and son. Oh, I mean like father and daughter. Ugh, can you believe it? Dad still didn't give a damn about my opinion. It made my blood boil. Still, I was afraid of open confrontation. He threatened to take my car and pocket money away every chance he got, and I was saving up for a trip to Rome. But I wasn't going to take such treatment lying down either. So I said I would join the soccer club, but actually join the gymnastics club. For a while, I successfully deceived Dad, but soon he found out the truth and went ballistic. Brenda, since you dared to disobey me, I'm sending you to a boys' sports camp. They'll make a real man out of you and teach you to obey orders there. A boys' camp? Are you kidding me? I'm as serious as a heart attack. You need to get all this girly nonsense out of your head. Of course, at first I was shocked, but then I calmed down. At least he hadn't taken away my car and pocket money. Okay, I'll stay in that stupid camp for a couple of weeks and then go to Rome and forget all about this freaking nightmare. I tried to convince myself the situation would be worse. A couple of days later, Dad drove me to the camp. Before leaving, he said something that ruined my mood again. Don't even think about slacking off, Brenda. While you are here, the only thing you should be saying is yes, sir. Got it? Okay, I got it. What would you say? Yes, sir. Remember, I'll be watching you. You won't fool your old man this time. I said I got it again, but on the inside I was smiling. He'll be watching? Yeah, like I'd believe that. I was sure I wouldn't have any trouble at the camp. If push came to shove, I could always win over the boys there and make them help me. I stepped into camp beaming. Soon enough, I found out there was another girl in the camp besides me. Her name was Nancy, and we were going to be roommates. Things were looking up. I walked into our room and smiled at her amiably. Hi, I'm Brenda. Let's be friends. We could wear face masks and gossip about guys in the evenings. Listen carefully, you Disney princess. I'm not your friend, and I'm not going to coddle you. Stay away from me if you know what's good for you. Oh, that wasn't the answer I was hoping for. Nancy turned out to be arrogant and rude. For some reason, she took an instant dislike to me. Okay, don't get so worked up. What did you just say? I'm going to take a look around the camp. I ran out of our room like a bat out of hell and decided to introduce myself to the boys. If there was one thing I was good at, it was flirting. I had no doubt that all the boys would be pining for me in no time. I came up to 3 cute guys and batted my eyelashes at them. This is my first time at a camp like this. I hope it won't be too hard. I'm not very strong. You'll help me, won't you guys? Once again, I didn't get the reaction I was hoping for. They guffawed, and one tall and tough-looking guy called Joseph suddenly leaned in close to my face and smirked. Are you sure you came to the right place, dollface? This is not a summer pony camp, but a survival school. Crybabies like you don't belong here. My dad doesn't care about that. I turned around and walked away to my room with my head held high. It seemed I was going to have a hard time there after all. I'm only here for 2 weeks, and then I have shopping and spas and Rome to look forward to. Soon we were all given sports uniforms. Our counselor, Mr. Hartman, told my team to line up and started shouting at us. Welcome to our boys' sports camp. I will make real men out of you. His tone infuriated me. Did he fancy himself a sergeant? I couldn't stand it it and corrected Mr. Hartman. For your information, there are also girls here. He squinted and stormed up to me. Now who are you, smart guy? Oh, it's our princess. That is a stupid stereotype. Quit calling me Princess Pony and Dollface. What? Watch your tongue. Start doing push-ups now. He was being so loud, all the kids flinched. However, I'd already come too far to back down, so I swallowed my fear and smiled, hoping I looked relaxed. Doing push-ups isn't for girls. You can't make me. Oh, is that right? Then keep standing. Everyone else will be doing push-ups until you say, yes, sir, and do as I say. All the other kids immediately got on the ground and started doing push-ups. I knew they would hate me after that, but I stood my ground. I could be stubborn too. Your comrades are suffering because of you, Brenda. Have you changed your mind yet? I've already said no. You can't make me do anything I don't want to do. After a few minutes, everyone collapsed, exhausted, and Mr. Hartman smiled like a cat that got the cream. That's enough for today. Now teach Brenda a lesson for letting down the team. With those words, he left, and everyone pounced on me. Nancy looked like she wanted to slap the living daylights out of me. You won't get away with this. I backed away, feeling uneasy, but to my surprise, Joseph came to my defense. Leave her alone, Nancy. I don't want her to turn on the waterworks. Oh, how noble of you. I was just putting my money where my mouth was. The counselor was the one who made you do the push-ups. Having said that, I proudly walked back to my room. They could think whatever they wanted. I didn't care. I felt like a winner. That lasted until I got a call from my dad. It seems you didn't take my words seriously, Brenda. I know you've been avoiding exercising. Quit being so bullheaded, or wave goodbye to your car and trip to Rome. He hung up and my heart sank. How did Dad find out about it so quickly? Did he have a spy at the camp? Dang it, it seemed I would have to play by his rules until I found out who ratted me out. The next morning, Mr. Hartman told us to run an obstacle course. Words can't describe how little I wanted to do that, but the counselor asked me if I was going to do as he said, and I had no choice but to say, yes, sir. Now we're talking. Get to it. I was struggling much more than the other kids. While everyone else was finishing the second lap, I wasn't even done with my first. I was covered in mud and breathing heavily, but didn't give up. As Nancy ran past me once more, she sarcastically asked me, having trouble keeping up, sissy? She distracted me and I fell into a puddle. That was it. I didn't even have the strength to get back up anymore. But then, Joseph picked me up and helped me finish the obstacle course. Thank you. Why did you do that? Of course, you failed big time, but at least you gave it your all. That's why I couldn't leave you. I smiled sheepishly. Nancy was furious. Wow, what an achievement. Let's treat her like a queen. When I came back to our room, I saw that all my cosmetics were lying in the trash. Nancy must have thrown them out. I wondered why my roommate hated me so much. And then I realized she could be Dad's spy. He must have paid Nancy so that she'd report him about my every move. I need to test my theory. I got it. I took my lipstick out of the trash can and sneaked into the boys' locker room. Okay, no one's here. Let's get started. I painted a few lockers with my lipstick, and then I put it on and kissed the first t-shirt I could find to leave a mark. Mr. Hartman found out about that prank like I hoped he would. He called Nancy and me to his office and asked us who had done it. There are only 2 girls in this camp, so one of you must have been behind this mess. Brenda, admit it. Did you do it? I shook my head innocently and looked at him with huge eyes. No, sir, I had nothing to do with it. The counselor had steam coming out of his ears. Even though he did not doubt I was guilty, he had no proof. In the end, Mr. Hartman punished both of us. Brenda, Nancy, you will go to the boys' locker room after dinner and clean it up. Nancy glared at me with pure hatred and stormed out of the office. A little later, Dad called and scolded me again. You disappointed me, Brenda. Not only are you disobeying the counselor, but you also refuse to admit you're guilty. I'm coming to Parents' Day soon, and if I don't see that you've cleaned up your act... okay, I get it. No car and no Rome for me. Bye, Dad. See you later. Someone had told on me again. Now I was 100% sure that Nancy was the one who had done it. No one else knew about my prank. That evening, when Nancy and I were cleaning up the boys' locker room, I decided to confront her. I know my dad paid you to spy on me. Do you have glitter for brains? What are you talking about? She said that she had nothing to do with it. She was rude, but sounded sincere enough. I don't get it. Why did you pick on me ever since we met then? What did I ever do to you? Take a wild frickin' guess. This is not the first time I came to this camp. I've always been the only girl here until you showed up. Nancy said she was just jealous because I immediately became the center of attention. Even Joseph suddenly started acting like a knight in shining armor and protecting me. Even though I'm just as good as them at everything they do, they've never noticed me. You're so strong and independent. The boys are probably just afraid of you. We talked a little bit and realized our feud was a bit dumb. Even though we didn't have much in common, we could still become friends. I apologized for my prank with the lipstick and she left. Meanwhile, I was lost in thought. If Nancy wasn't spying on me, then who's doing it? The door opened and 3 boys walked into the locker room, including Joseph. When they saw me, they all started smiling slyly. Well, I should go. However, they surrounded me and did not let me pass, still smiling mysteriously. One of them took out his phone and showed me pictures of me kissing someone's t-shirt. Isn't that you? Yeah, but where did you get these? It turned out someone else had been in the locker room while I was messing around with the lipstick. Some guy had hidden behind a locker and taken pictures of me. So you're pining for Joseph, huh? What makes you say that? Because it was his t-shirt you kissed so tenderly. Oops. I turned red as a lobster and wanted to sink through the floor. The boys kept making fun of me until Joseph finally stopped them. Okay, that's enough. Get out of here. We need to talk. Of course, let's give the sweet couple some space. When we were finally alone, Joseph looked into my eyes and asked if I really had a crush on him. No, let me explain. I told him that my dad had always wanted a son, and I pulled the lipstick stunt to find out who was spying on me. To my surprise, when I finished, he sighed understandingly. I'm in a very similar situation. My mom has always wanted a daughter and for me to have girly hobbies. She did everything she could think of to stop me from coming here. But seriously, you shouldn't have to spend your whole life pretending to be someone you're not. Your father should let you be yourself. You think I should teach him a lesson? Exactly. Parents' Day is just around the corner. Color me intrigued. What do you have in mind? Joseph told me his plan and I loved it. With a bit of help from my new friends, everything was soon ready. You should have seen Dad's face when he arrived at camp on Parents' Day and saw a soldier instead of his cute little princess. Brenda, is that really you? Why do you look so surprised? You wanted me to toughen up. I did what you wanted. No more girly nonsense. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to play soccer with the boys. Dad watched with delight as I kicked the ball around, compared muscles with the boys, and won round after round in arm wrestling. Sending Brenda to this camp was the best decision I'd ever made. Later, he came up to Mr. Hartman and shook his hand. Thank you for fixing my daughter. You don't need to report to me anymore. So that's who Dad's spy was. Our counselor. I should have realized it sooner. Well, it didn't matter anymore. As soon as Dad left, I winked at my new friends and told them that the first part of our plan had been a success. I spent the rest of my time at camp having a ton of fun. I learned a lot of new things and grew close to Joseph and Nancy. I taught my new friend a couple of things, and the boys finally noticed she was a beautiful girl. Nancy taught me how to do push-ups to thank me. I soon returned home and put the second part of our amazing plan into motion. First, I started to drag Dad to sports matches and on fishing trips. I didn't give him a moment's rest. I tried to act like a guy and quit doing all the things he considered girly. For a while, Dad was happy because he finally had the son he dreamed of for so long, but soon he grew tired of it. Come on, Dad, let's see who can drink a can of soda faster. Oh, and let's go to the garage and tune the car next. Honey, why don't you let me lie on the couch and bake an apple pie? We haven't eaten in ages. Don't be a slacker. No more pies, only meat steaks. And by the way, I canceled my trip to Rome. Let's go on an extreme hike instead. After Dad had heard those words, he looked like his soul had left his body. What have I done? My daughter is no longer herself. I'm sorry for trying to change you, Brenda. You should do whatever you want. I miss my little princess so much. So you admit you were wrong? Yes, I really am sorry. I smiled slyly and then took the short wig off my head and fake muscles off my arms. Ta-da! It was all fake. Dad didn't get mad because he realized he was wrong, and I said I would have never canceled my trip to Rome. The next morning, I left home with a suitcase only to see Joseph on the porch. Hi, I wanted to ask how you're doing and also invite you to a basketball game. Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for the help. I'm in a hurry to get to the airport, but you should totally invite my dad to the game. You support the same team. I smiled sweetly at Joseph and got into a taxi and spent an unforgettable 2 weeks in Rome. The views were amazing, and I was on cloud 9 as I shopped there. When I got home, I saw Dad and Joseph working on my car and chatting about guy stuff. Hi guys, are you best friends now? Dad winked at me and pushed Joseph towards me. Don't let this one go, sweetie. He's a great guy. I know, Dad. He's my knight in shining armor. Joseph smiled sheepishly and took my hand. I want to introduce you to my mom. I'm sure you'll become fast friends too.